righteous plea. Some are Parker fighting for you and me. Patients need what the doctor has said. Safe access now to the meds they bred. One love, one fight, don't you delay. Rights for the people in every way. We stand tall, we won't back down. Safe access is the anthem sound. Safe access is the anthem sound. The struggle is real, so is the fire. For health and hope we climb higher. Stand with the ones who can't stand alone. For every voice deserves a throne. Compassion leads where the laws resist. A healer's heart can't coexist with barriers blocking what we deserve. The people's needs must be preserved. One love, one fight, don't you delay. Rights for the people in every way. We stand tall, we won't back down. Safe access is the anthem sound.
This production is brought to you by DHBN, WTHC Radio, and Stoner Records.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Patients for Safe Access podcast. We are broadcasting to you out of Oklahoma, and I'm here with another Oklahomie, and her name is Jamie Bennett. And Jamie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Girl, I'm excited. Like, when I met you the first time, I was like, I knew instantly. I was like, I need to have her on a podcast once I get one going. And then I kind of got blessed with getting one going, and so here we are.
That's awesome. I know, my first meeting with you was so awesome. We met at the Capitol.
Yeah, at the Oklahoma State Capitol. I can't remember if you were coming up for the Patients for Safe Access meeting and didn't make it in time, or if you were up there for something else.
I came in because I wrote a bill.
Ah, that's what it was, because we were there for the Patients for Safe Access meeting. Okay.
And I wrote a bill to allow patient-reported outcomes to be part of the research licenses for OMA.
Girl.
It hasn't hit committee yet, but it's still active.
So what bill number is that?
I think it's...
She's like, don't ask me. We'll get back to that.
I think it's 205.
It's 205, okay.
It might be 305.
Okay, we'll get there. I kind of I threw that one on her last second. I should have done a little bit more research. That's okay. So, Jamie, you are a integral part of this cannabis community in Oklahoma in many different ways. You know, I've asked around about you, done a little bit of homework, not a ton, but a little bit, you know, and I know that your nickname in the industry has been RSO Mama, and that was even your brand at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So kind of tell me how you became RSO Mama.
Okay, so we're going back to the beginning, huh?
I'm going to dig it way deep.
All right, so let me start by saying I am a patient before I was anything else. I have had endometriosis diagnosed for 20 years, been in and out of surgeries for 15 years before I stumbled upon cannabis. You know, and then I went into a dispensary and I had a very educated bud tender tell me about, at the time, you know, we were all calling it RSO. Mm-hmm. I do go by FECO now, the full extract cannabis oil, because I want people to know what the product they're using actually is. But, you know, it was at that time when RSO Mama was brand new. Right. I bought some RSO, and I cannot even begin to explain the quality of life that I had. I went from sepsis infection after sepsis infection and needing another surgery to pretty much walking out of the medical world completely.
That's rough when you have sepsis. I've been there. That shit, like, it's no joke.
I came off 13 medications.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, that was the start. And before it was a brand, it was me running around trying to find out if I was crazy that this medicine was working or not. So I went up to everybody I could find who was in the industry, and I was like, what are you using it for? I gotta know.
Right.
I gotta know.
Started your own data collection way back then.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had kept better track. Like, some of them I like, you know, pictures and like little notes, but I wish I had like done what we're doing now. Better. Yeah. I wish I would have known back what I know now.
I feel you with our advocacy group. You know, I mean, there was so much that was done in the beginning, in the first year, before like coming out to the community with what we were doing, that just I should have journaled. I should have documented. I should have kept a better tab. I kept a pretty good tab, but I didn't keep it 100%, you know?
Yeah.
And now knowing what I know, I still am bad about it. I still don't do this shit half the time, but I know I need to.
I can teach you. Learn from me.
Like, Siri, can you please take my document? No, take my notes. So you have a new nickname though of the recent, and I found this on one of the websites you gave me, and that's Healthcare Disruptor.
So, yes, that is. I have to give credit where credit is due. So I am, working for and with Jim Gehringer, and man, does that man have a vision for cancer patients.
Good.
And I had a program out here in Oklahoma, which I'd love to talk more about in detail, but real quick, that's not a quick.
Okay.
This man has had a huge vision for cancer patients and how to help them, and he and I had combined, and he is the rebel at heart, trying to do things the legal way.
Right.
So there's a little bit of tension there, and that's where you get the healthcare disruption leader. Yeah, like that's the leader of that team for sure.
I love.
We've got our healthcare hoodies and t-shirts.
Powered by Cancer Playbook.
Yeah, by Cancer Playbook.
So make sure to hit up Jamie Bennett for those. Oh, Sherry said Jim's name as well. So Sherry, you in the same circle of peoples. I love that.
Sherry's my people.
Is she your people?
Yeah.
I love it. I've gotten to meet her once, I think, so far, and that's it. But I look forward to actually, getting to vibe with her.
Yeah.
So.
Man, that woman, you want to talk about a warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been through it.
Yeah.
From what I can tell online.
Yeah.
And online doesn't give anything. That's just a very short snippet of somebody's life and day. So, yeah. So what was the, let's see, you talked about a little bit about your health journey. So whenever you started having health issues, obviously cannabis would have been illegal.
Yes.
Because that was way back in the day, right? And so how important was it to you, like when 788 passed, to give you access to medical cannabis?
Okay, so funny story.
Okay.
I was so anti-cannabis when I started using cannabis that I almost got divorced over it.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Yeah.
The weed or the man?
So I had, one.
The man's got to go.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad. It was bad, and it was because of legalities. When you're a parent, the legalities, that fear that set in. I mean, luckily, well, I'm not going to go there. But the fear of not being able to use it, and now knowing what I know about what it does, it is unfair for any person to have a fear of the government for using this medication.
Over cannabis, absolutely.
Yes.
Hoorah.
Like I have patient-reported outcome after patient-reported outcome of how this helps. Our team does. It is. I have personal ones from Oklahoma. If you want to talk Oklahoma, the Oklahoma program, but the collective, like the extension of this, so like Cancer Playbook into whole health oncology, man, they are going to change the world when it comes to these patient-reported outcomes helping in cannabis.
So you're involved in several different programs, and so maybe we can give just a short bio of each of those programs, because we'll go into those a little bit more after the break and break them down for you guys. But tell them a little bit about what all the programs are that you're involved with.
Yeah. So, let's start with the Oklahoma program. On my journey of collecting stories with patient-reported outcomes, I ran into crossed paths with Jamie Bennett.
Okay.
Jamie Bennett was with Paragon Extracts, and he was giving out FECO for a penny to cancer patients everywhere. And I know that him and his family and his team, which there's some amazing people from Oklahoma and in that team, but they helped with over 20,000 syringes, not expecting anything in return. And I got to be part of that.
Yeah.
Of Operation Zero in
That's
the very beginning. And then, once you saw what was going on, like I have a servant's nonprofit heart, and I saw a need, And I saw people were posting, and next thing I know, Jeremy and I are being tagged all over everything. And
you're like, well, all right, we need to talk about it.
Yeah. Right. Down. So that, has stemmed really into Operation Zero. Operation Zero is a collective of Oklahoma medical marijuana businesses that are working together as a team to provide syringes for cancer patients at no profit.
Well, let me start first by saying thank you, Jeremy, and you've got a huge supporter in our audience today. His name came up. He said that give us a thumbs up, Mr. Reefer. And absolutely, what a way to go, because that's just like the program for the veterans, that Rob Speak is doing. We've been pioneering these programs that work and benefit the community. It's amazing. And so thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Start with that.
Yes. They're constantly the Oklahoma non-regulated laws has driven some of the most passionate people for helping patients that I know out of this industry. And I'm kind of pissed about it.
Girl, I'm pissed about it too, because it's absolute bullshit. The regulatory agency has literally bottlenecked, and the legislators have bottlenecked this industry so severely that without some type of massive plan to save this, and I don't know whether or not the rec is the savior they think it's going to be if it passes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
So.
But I know we lost them, part of the collective shutdown, our slow relief dispensary, Jerry and Allison.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They personally touched at least 20 of our cancer patients weekly.
There's 21, because that dog right there in the floor was one of Jerry's cancer patients. And that's where I used to go to get my CBD oil to treat her with. And I was absolutely heartbroken. Old School and Co. He's the one who gave me the recommendation to go over there. He uses the same product on his dog Gunny, and she has mast cell cancer, skin cancer in several different places. Right now she's only got one spot, but we just continue to treat it with plant medicine. Yeah. Just like we would cannabinoids, because dogs have them too. But yeah, there's 21 right there. So
Cancer Playbook has a program for dogs.
I did not know.
Yes.
The hell out of here. I'm excited. Mark, you this shit. Mark. All right, y'all.
Jim, you're on it.
My pit bull is over here on the floor. You guys, not time for the freak show. So oh well, that's Ronnie. That's a big dog. Acting like a dog. Sometimes No, what interested me about the healthcare disruptor comment that I absolutely loved about it was because, I experienced, some health effects that started in my life, late 20s or so, and I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And advocating for my own health through that process of getting a diagnosis was just absolutely, I don't know how the hell I did it. We only do it because it's out of sheer fight, ourselves. And so, you're advocating for yourself, endometriosis. I totally get that. Yeah.
How's it? It's working for you. Are you still fighting the healthcare system?
My doctor that I absolutely love. He's probably one of the last country bumpkin doctors left around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I say that in the kindest of way because, those are the doctors that knew everything. They didn't stick to a specialist because they sprained your pinky toe.
Yeah.
Like that. And so, but he knows I take cannabis, and he's, 100% on board with me being a cannabis consumer. He knows that Big Pharma and I have had a history in the past, and I want nothing to do with their pills other than the ones that I physically just have to rely on.
Isn't it great that we're getting to the point where we've been in the industry long enough where our patients are now on file in the medical documents saying that they lay on medication?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how hungry our doctors are right now for information?
Mm-hmm. Because they don't have access to the data.
They didn't learn it.
It does.
They didn't learn it in school, and they are witnessing miracles.
Yep. And they're like, wait a minute, it wasn't my pills because this person took their stick off everything. And all the take is, what? FECO, or something like that. So as a layman's person who maybe hasn't had a need for RSO, FECO, you know, what is the difference? Is there a difference per se in RSO and FECO?
Man, this is such a debatable topic.
That's okay. That's what
And everybody's not gonna love my answer. Okay. I people overuse the word RSO.
Okay.
I think it's eliminated completely from the industry. It is a full extract cannabis oil. That is what you're consuming. It may have been done in a different method. It may have been done with a different solvent. It might have been soaked and extracted. But at the end of the day, full extract cannabis oil has been mentioned in medical journals for thousands of years.
Gotcha.
And we're not making a difference in what we need to by calling it something that it's not. Because when it gets to the doctor's hands, they need to know it's a full extract cannabis oil.
Gotcha. And full
And that's how you make a difference.
right. What'd you say, Ronnie?
Old school hash oil.
Old school hash oil.
Yeah.
Hashish.
I think brands have the commercialism of cannabis and brands has really affected the movement of what we could be doing.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I hate to be the one that calls that out, but
No.
I was guilty of it myself, so I shut my brand down.
Really? You know,
The only one I have is the one for the cancer program.
that takes ownership. It does. You know, just like I called out an event the other day, and man, they trolled my ass for calling out that event. But I also, if they would have went back about a month, 2 months before that, I did a live video where I was talking about, you know, before I knew the difference between what I was allowed to do and what I wasn't allowed to do 100%, because as a sales rep, the companies do inform you of that. So if they're asking you to do a pop-up and get it away and they're not telling you you're not supposed to, get on them. But, you know, I mean, I wasn't informed properly in the beginning. And I'm not going to say ignorance is an excuse, because it's not. But I myself did things that I wasn't supposed to do at events and stuff. So it wasn't just about calling out that event. You know, I owned my own set in the past as well. So accountability is huge with me. So that's way cool. I love that character. I do. So, all right, guys, we are going to take a short break. We are going to go to a commercial and a song. This song is going to be by a group called Clan, and it is Changing Lives Across Nations. So take us out of here, Hippie.
Every single day, 22 veterans take their own lives. Yesterday it happened, it'll happen again today and tomorrow, unless we do something. Operation Heal is on a mission to stop the pain, the death, and the heartbreak. Through the only thing that has actually worked for PTSD and chronic pain, cannabis. For far too many of our heroes, healing isn't an option. They're stuck in illegal states, living on a salary of $1,700 a month or less, denied natural medicine by the VA and force-fed pills instead. That's where Operation Heal comes in. Since 2023, they've built a nationwide underground network of cannabis caregivers and connections, getting veterans the plant medicine they need at zero cost when money's tight. Now they're going even bigger. VetStock is coming, a powerful event where veterans will come together to convert a school bus into a home for a fellow vet who sleeps on the streets every night. You can sign up for canna cooking classes, grab some awesome merch, and make a donation that directly saves lives. Go to Operation Heal, HEEL, and click to help our vets, to get involved and help us bring plant healing to those who fought for us. This is for the people, by the people. No red tape, no politics, just action. Because the government hasn't just abandoned our vets, they've abandoned all of us. Operation Heal, We don't stop until they stop dying. Join the movement. Donate, share, and heal.
I sip my coffee, twisting herb, that's my hobby. Can I kick it? Can I party? Me and my natives, get it started. Touchdown switch, I hit the target. Carving, sewing, painting, drawing. Make this money, split them profits. What I do, I know she wants it. Live my life, they reading comments. Moving silent, stacking comments. Numbers talking, I know they watching. I stay dreaming while I'm conscious. Seal for drip with the otter. Rose gold chain with the copper. Ravens, eagles, cling it hotter. Whales and wolves is wild style. I got a letter that was sent from me. Sent from me, sent from me. I get high. It always feels good to be. I got a letter that was sent from me. Sent from me, sent from me. I get high. It always feels good to be. Hey, hit or miss. This my hobby, smoking choke. This that chronic, wish you could be in this party. All my natives getting started. I stay woke, like the prophet spoken word. Let's see who follows. Clink at Haida, who could've thought though? Like who would've thought though? I'm that native, really reppin'. We go big, this ain't Texas. Check the rap, she ask who next is. Grizz and native, stay invested. Fish and moose, we stay ingested. Manifest without a question. Changing life around the nations. Through our music, through our message. I'm that native, sip my coffee. All the haters get up off me. Life is sweet, just like toffee. Can I kick it? Can I party? I'ma do me, that's regardless. See the hats and leather boots. See the trees and spruce roots. Check our names, we chiefs too. I got a letter that was sent from me. Sent from me, sent from me. I get high. It always feels good to be. I got a letter that was sent from me. Sent from me, sent from me. I get high. It always feels good to be.
Hey, so thank you. That song was amazing. As always, Canna Music, Canna Friendly, 420 WTHC Radio. And if you have not hit the like and subscribe on WTHC Radio yet, please do that now. And you can also hit mine at Dabbing Nana 78 or Summer Parker, Patients for Safe Access. So do you have any socials you'd like to plug?
Cancer Playbook.
Cancerplaybook.org.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Cancer Playbook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We have a Facebook group for cancer patients. Cancerplaybook.org.
So when a cancer patient either comes to you or is referred to you in your organization, kind of walk us through the process that they're taken through.
Yeah. Okay. So our collective is pretty strong here in Oklahoma. So the first interaction that the patient has is typically the dispensary that we teamed up with.
Okay.
Which we're adding.
How many
into the collective?
How many dispensaries do you think you have networked right now? Sorry to interrupt.
So I think we have about eight
Okay.
dispensaries right now.
Okay.
We'd love to expand. Cost, they kept changing things. And
Right.
it was, easier to do this program a couple of years ago than it is now. And transportation costs, to do it legally, which we don't have any choice, is pretty expensive.
And like right now, you had told me, you've been losing some sleep at night lately over a decision that you're having to make. And, currently the program is offered to the patients in our state at $1 per gram syringe. And you have lost a lot of sleep. You fuss, cuss, and disgust in your brain.
Yeah. I'm tired from it. It was a hard decision. I mean, we're doing everything in our power right now. No final decisions have been made, but, we're at the point where overregulation has driven out the people that were our backbone. And as a result, our costs are going to increase. And, it's not unreasonable for $5.
Right.
It's not unreasonable, but
it's not.
It's heartbreaking.
And when you told me that you were losing so much sleep and how heartbroken you were over just simply taking the program costs from the patient side of it to $1 to $5, like I felt like huge compassion and empathy for you, because I can tell where your heart and your passion is, and that's getting it to the patient at like the lowest available possible rate.
I mean, Jeremy Dedman, like the backbone, like that started the Operation Zero side of this, not the other stuff, but that he started doing what he was doing because there's so many costs already associated when you have cancer. Mm-hmm. These people are, mostly middle class, bottom class,
middle, median, or poverty.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, Oklahoma is not that rich of a state.
No, we don't have a 1% capita population here.
So our patients, a lot of them don't have insurance, or if they do have insurance, it doesn't cover everything. And so they're getting medical costs associated, and they're having to eat different diets, and they have new medications that they have to pay for because their insurance doesn't cover. And they have so many extra expenses, and not to mention just like the in and outs of referral system. Like, how many of you guys have ever gotten stuck in the referral system? Like, how many times have you cried on the phone because you've been trying to get a referral for 3 weeks and you can't see your doctor and they're telling you you've got cancer?
Oklahoma healthcare sucks.
It's bad out here.
Monkey butt. Sucks monkey butt.
Yeah.
My own father-in-law, my old man's dad, he came to Oklahoma. He used to live in Arizona. He came to Oklahoma because he wanted to retire. He bought him a nice little ranch, big nice house, got him a tractor and all this stuff. Well, he finds out that he has cancer, which he knew he had cancer when he came to Oklahoma. But when he came to Oklahoma, he was diagnosed with multiple different types of cancers. And when he was here, his treatment was so piss poor from the medical community side of it. And he ended up going back to Arizona just so that he could get cancer treatment through his Mayo Clinic there. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell? This was this man's, like, he sunk everything he had. I'm talking like over $500,000 investment, you know what I mean, to come to Oklahoma and to get the property and home that he had and all those things, you know what I mean? And for him to leave Oklahoma because of the health care, the piss poor health care, he took a huge financial loss on the property and assets here that he had to then get rid of at a lower rate than what I think he even bought it for.
This is one of those things that make me so mad. I mean, this is why I'm with Jim on the healthcare disruption, because I've been a 20-year patient. Okay, I've had multiple surgeries. I've been on so many medications. I've seen my deathbed. I came back from it from a plant.
Second mountain grown.
Yeah, I mean, I still go to the doctors, like I do, not regularly.
I only see the motherfuckers as often.
Yeah, I go for
very often. I choose when I want to see them now.
I go for a 1 year scan, and we just kind of look. Endometriosis has a lot of issues, so we go check it out. For the first time in 20 years, I'm not scared anymore.
I love that for you.
So that's what the plant has done, and that's what we're trying to give to these patients that come in.
The plant gave her that piece, not the doctors who were supposed to help identify a problem and salute it. Not Band-Aid it with a new pill every time you go into their office, which is absolute bullshit. So, Sherry Bacher says, I have been taking with the Live Strong Foundation to try their cancer exercise program set up locally here because it is a no cost to cancer patients. They provide the trainers to implement in the local YMCA, just FYI. All right, you guys heard it here. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing that.
Thank you.
So,
My baby mama.
that's your baby mom.
It is.
Jesus. I'm scared. Hang on, I lost my notes in that thought
We
process.
were talking about, we got sidetracked, but it was a good sidetrack.
She's where I got Sadie from.
Oh,
She's
got
my baby
you.
mama.
Okay, now I understand. So Sherry is truly Reefer Ronner's baby mama. That's interesting.
Oh, I thought we were getting into. All right, back to patients and how it helps.
And back to FECO now. All right, so you've mentioned a couple times about the collective, and I love that you use that term collective because it is a collective, group of companies and individuals who support Operation Zero and the Cancer Playbook. And without their support, you guys wouldn't have the program functional, right?
Right.
So tell us who some of those, like, if you want to plug the brands and
Yeah.
companies, you're welcome.
So, like I said earlier, one of them is not with us anymore, but they were instrumental, and that was Silverleaf. They were instrumental in what we do. I'm going to start with the dispensaries.
Yeah, go for it.
And then we've got, Groovy Cats in Tulsa, who is
Shout out Groovy Cats,
Yeah.
Cat Will.
that woman she has hand pulled syringes with me. She has used her transportation to transport this stuff all over the state. She's been in the back end of events with me. She's done digital stuff with me. That is my ride or die.
Like, seriously, she
this
is
program.
such a phenomenal human. The
Yeah.
biggest lesson I ever learned from her was that people need to learn how to what? How to human.
Yeah.
She says that all the time. If folks would just learn how to human, if we
Yeah.
would strip everything back and take it back to just, you're a human being and I'm a human being and this is how you should treat a human being. And it was such a cool lesson to learn from her.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Well, they're a family small dispensary, and it's pretty much just family that works there. So, like, as her, like, being part of this team, the first time we met, okay, she called me and she's like, hey, I heard or maybe I called her, I don't know, somebody, we called each other and found out we were doing something similar. And we were on the phone for like 3.5 hours. And I knew from that moment I just found one of my best friends. Like, I just knew it. I'm like, this woman has a heart for patients. Well, her entire family is like that.
Yeah.
And that's what the cancer patients get to come into.
Absolutely.
And they're there throughout they see them every week. They're the first point of contact. So they care about you and they see you every week. And they're asking. And when you're not there, when you don't come pick up, they're calling me.
That's right.
They're calling me and saying, hey, have you heard? Have you heard?
So I've heard from this person.
That's what these cancer patients are walking into, is a community that cares about you. We care about you so much that we are going to help organize the system to know that we care.
I love that. It's a whole network, like a avatar in the background
Yeah.
that nobody sees.
Yeah.
The network underneath.
Yeah.
So
that is what the collective is about. Then we, add in, I'm going to plug Cancer Playbook here. So that's what I was, what we're doing here in Oklahoma. I met Jim Garancer about 3.5 years ago. I think it's about when. We met on Facebook.
okay.
He had made a post and asked who was doing the cancer program in Oklahoma. And Jeremy Dedman and I were tagged all over it. And the next thing I know, phone calls were happening and stuff was going crazy and all these ideas. And it was just like, all right, let's just sit together and talk this out. Okay, let's just peace. And then, so he got to understand what we were doing here in Oklahoma. And he's like, all right, this is how we can make it better. We can start collecting surveys on these stories and figure out how to get this data all organized so that we can use it for something bigger. So that's where he came in and where Cancer Playbook comes in.
Right.
Cancer Playbook is also, we have some of the coolest partners ever at Cancer Playbook. Jim has done a phenomenal job at networking. So we're working with the Society of Cannabis Clinicians.
Nice.
I believe there's over 600 cannabis clinicians in that group. You know, there's some other big ones that I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about.
That's okay too.
But you know, they're doing some incredible things. And Cancer Playbook, let me just say what it is. It is patient-reported outcomes plus research equals playbooks. So Cancer Playbook is powered by Whole Health Oncology Institute. Whole Health Oncology's team sat down and did a meta-analysis on the outcomes of cancer with cannabis.
Okay.
They took 10,000 clinical data, like whether that be journals or whatever, you know, they gathered or collected of it, and came to good and bad, and came to a scientific consensus of what that outcome is. That team over there, Ryan Castle is the head of research. That man is so smart, it's not even funny. I have personally got to sit down with him like day in and like day out, and learn like so much like ML and all kinds of like, we've got these like data map things that look like fireworks. Then you break it down and like can go down to like cannabis and the symptom and the positive and negative outcome. Like, it's a cool video. I think we have it up somewhere, but I'm not really sure where it is. So
okay.
It's probably on Cancer Playbook somewhere. So they took this and they did the meta-analysis. This was peer-reviewed by a team of oncologists before it was published in Frontiers in Oncology. And when that thing hit, holy moly, did it hit the headlines. The coolest one, I got to go for the coolest one first.
Right.
On 420, Apple put out a notification on the phones of this launch of this meta-analysis.
Oh,
yeah,
that's wicked cool.
Yeah,
for it to be on 420, that is way cool.
That was cool. But we've been in, you know, that was Forbes, Guardian, Politico, Yahoo, AOL, Google. Yeah. Well, Google has been pretty generous in their support for Cancer Playbook
And that's
the build
awesome.
out of it.
That is so awesome coming from Google. But here's my issue with that. I am so appreciative of a private company basically coming through and funding some research, data collection stuff. But this is where our regulatory agency or legislative one need to be able to allocate funds that are collected from the medical marijuana program to do research within the medical marijuana program. That is the not just how much is too much gram bullshit, but let's talk about the actual medical benefits of cannabis consumption. You know what I mean? We have clinicians ready to help. We've got some universities that may be interested. You know, some people in these, there are cannabis friendly universities out there that want in on this. Like, there are reasons that grants need to be allowed federally. Yes, and absolutely. And that takes me to kind of like federal legalization for a second, how important it is to like organizations like yours, you know, whether it be a descheduling, rescheduling, federal legalization, whatever you want to call it. But without that happening, that prevents so much stuff when it comes from the medical industry. It prevents people from being able to have their insurance pay for their medicine. Yeah. You know, it stops a lot of stuff. Yeah. I mean, with it not being federally legal, with what Operation Zero does as a collective, it has to stay as a state not-for-profit. Mm-hmm. I can't go full 501c3 and open it up to funding. And you've referenced, you know, in your conversation here today a couple of different times, well, Cancer Playbook here in Oklahoma. Okay, so is it a program that is available in other states? So it's launching in other states. Yeah, we're getting there. Pulled that out. We haven't announced it yet. Coming to you first. Yeah. But yeah, we've had some discussions. We're ready to expand. I mean, our team for Cancer Playbook and into like the whole health oncology, like we're all over the place. Like we got
some of our teams in Hawaii. We've got, I mean, Texas, Oklahoma, like it's a big team around the world. And we're constantly, like, we network all day long with other people who are like us and see how we can come together on stuff. And, you know, we're trying to take this across the world. That's our goal.
I love that. So I hope you have success in doing that. You know, I've been asked a couple of times about, like, Patients for Safe Access. You know, would I want to see it, like, be a program in other states as well? You know, and right now we're just a, you know, an advocacy group. You know, we're not a program of any form. And so I'd say, and I hate to use this term, so I'm not going to use the word infancy. I'm going to use the fact that we're a yearling.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a horse term instead. I hate OMMA's infancy bullshit. But anyways, you're a fucking 2-year-old toddler now, which you are, OMMA. But anyways, you know, all of that, I lost my train of thought. Crap.
You got on the rant.
I'm elevated. Here, I'll tell you why I'm elevated really quickly, though. And it was this daggum pre-roll. And I already said I wasn't going to smoke any pre-rolls anymore after Harvard study that we talked about on our podcast a couple weeks ago, where they had like 14 out of 15 pre-rolls fail for microbials in an independent study that they did with their lab. But this pre-roll was gifted to me. I know the brand. I had not had their pre-rolls yet. This is called Gas Dealer. And in Oklahoma, they are in Newcastle, Oklahoma. And it's the Trading Post, and they are a vertical location. And that is one thing that I do like because, you know, you're getting it from seed to bag from them. And I love that part. So vertical, way to go. So definitely elevated on it, though. So, so whenever you first started having the ideas in your brain to like start forming the ideas for Cancer Playbook and for Operation Zero, what was that pivotal point, that piece of inspiration that shifted you to do this?
Oh, okay. So I would say that pivotal point for me, to be honest, was when Jeremy left the industry and we had a floating idea and it made my stomach turn. That pivotal moment for me, you know, I'm a mom and I make macaroni and cheese all the time for my kid, right? Pivotal moment was the day that the ideas came flowing so fast that I burnt the macaroni and cheese because I couldn't stop writing.
I love that. I love that. The mac and cheese got burnt.
Yeah.
But you know, you remember it because of that moment.
Yeah.
You know? So I love
that. Was that moment for me that was like, all right. And you know, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people along the way. That's what I've done. Like I didn't have a brand when I first started. I created a brand because it was easier to network, and that brand funded this program because again, I couldn't open it up to a 501c3 because it's federal. So we were like, all right, we'll create product line and use that money to help cancer patients. Like, I don't have to make a profit.
Right.
I can say as a state not-for-profit, like, we can do what we need to do.
And you've worn many hats in our community, you know, and I'm not going to say industry, but in our community. You've been an owner operator in this industry. You've been a patient in the industry. You're doing, you know, research and outside, you know, things that are beneficial factors with the industry, like Operation Zero and Cancer Playbook. You've like been all over the place. Yeah. So you've got a lot of diversity and background in what you have pulled together. So yeah, I can imagine that mac and cheese got burnt in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I legit, I told Jeremy, I called him up and I was like, listen, I might be going crazy. And he was like, well, we knew that when we met you. Like, we knew there was something different about you. And I was like, no, like, really, I think, and he was like, I really want to take this over. Like, if you're going to be out of the industry, like, I think I know the legacy. Yeah. You know, and I didn't know all the parts to get there. So, like, Jim Garanser coming in and stepping in where he did, huge difference. Yeah. Into what we've been able to do. And what we're going to continue to be able to do. We're not done. I do need, you know, more dispensaries. And we didn't talk about the processor on this. And I feel like she needs to be mentioned.
Yeah, please.
So Nancy McCumber, that woman is a holy rock star. That is what I will say with Dauntless Health. She has been more than generous. I think Jeremy stepped out of the industry 3 years ago, and Nancy never took a profit from me to do what I was doing, and wasn't fully aware of what I was doing.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to do something like this, you stumble and you fall. You're like, this isn't like somebody handed me $1 million and said, "Hey, here's go create your program."
Of how to do it.
When I started taking this over, I was sleeping on Crystal Smotherman's couch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I grinded.
Yep, PB&J days.
Yeah, we were in grind mode. But that woman, she knew we shut down the commercial company, and she wasn't really sure why. So she called me up, and she said, "Hey, somebody told me that you've been giving away the syringes of leaders." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Is that why you lost your company?" And I said, "No. Why?" And she said, "Can we have a conversation?" And I said, "All right." So I came in and we talked, and she was like, "I was just worried, that that was the reason." And I was like, "No, we actually, stupid laws again, bathroom issues, it is what it is."
Hang on, I gotta pause you. People have lost their businesses in the state of Oklahoma for the most absurd shit ever. And that right there is a prime example of how it happens. You have an issue with something inside of the structure that is not something you have anything to do with, and they don't approve something, so therefore you are no longer able to operate, nor are you able to progress with your program. And how shattering is that? Just one more story of how the OMMAs.
That is how Tina's.
I'm just gonna leave it that way.
Yep, that's how Tina's went out. That woman is another rock star who helps this program tremendously and is deeply missed.
Good people want to do it right.
Like, there have been so many, and that's what's hard about this. Like, right, you finally find the good people, and then they start over-regulating and overpricing, and everybody's already struggling. And then you lose your good people because they're out of the industry, and you're like, how do you keep this program going now? So it is a non-stop having to network and figure out who's next. That's the season we're in right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm open. If you are a processor or a dispensary who is interested in helping cancer patients and you're in the state of Oklahoma, please find me, even on Facebook. Jamie Bennett is my name. I would love to have a conversation with you. We need your help. This program needs your help.
Yeah.
The entire collective does this as a nonprofit, and we will promote your company for doing it. We do that all the time. It doesn't
cost the dispensary anything to become involved in the program, at all, right?
It doesn't cost them anything, but we do ask that they help with transportation costs.
Right.
Because until we can figure out a way to do fundraising, there's still, bills associated, and without that, I have to, consider options that keep me up at night, like increasing the price for the patient.
And how
I don't want
Cancer
to.
patients will send all their family members in, and you'll make your money back. Guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah. And these cancer patients that you're helping, they may be buying other products, There's a lot that'll buy edibles. There's a lot that'll buy tinctures,
pain creams,
like they're gonna buy other stuff, and this is just one product
patches
that we're getting them that we know is going to increase their quality of life. We have had a 98% patient-reported success rate with the products that we are currently using for these cancer patients.
I love that.
Those patients are not feeling as much pain. They're not as nauseous. They're able to sleep at night. They're able to eat food, whether they are on chemo, radiation, or immunotherapy. And some of them have masses that are shrinking. Some of them that have tumor markers that are plummeting. Some of them have, there's a child that this child's fight is so hard, right? It is so hard, and they're in the state of Oklahoma. And that child is about to undergo, or might still currently be undergoing an aggressive chemo treatment. And that little boy went into his doctor and told his doctor, "I take this black medicine. It helps my tummy, and he was able to be up and still running around playing after a rough chemo treatment. That mother has some incredible stories, and she will be a guest on one of my podcasts in the future.
Yeah. I love
to tell
that.
her story.
No, we need those stories.
We
out
do
there,
have,
you know.
So can I talk about Hope
Yeah.
Fest?
Yeah. go for
Okay,
it.
so we do. I probably should do it more than what I've been doing it. We a couple years ago we kicked off this thing called Hope Fest,
Okay.
and we did as close as we could get to 24 hours of being online.
Like
We
a
did it
live
on
feed.
February
Mhm.
4th is the first kickoff we did because that was World Cancer Day.
Mhm.
So like a live 24-hour live feed. We had the dispensaries that were our part of our program come in and talk about their experience with the patients. We had education. We had some we did terpenes and what is FECO and how to reach homeostasis and some pretty cool stuff mixed in with patient survivors that were on sitting next to me, holding my hand because they're scared to talk and telling their story live. And it's on YouTube. It's on Cancer Playbook's YouTube under the Hope Fest playlist. You want to hear how these products are helping cancer patients? That's where you're going to find it. I mean, that is you can't get any better than them coming on screen and sharing their story. That takes an incredible amount of strength, and I am here to hold your hand for anybody listening that wants to do that. I would love to capture your story both in writing and in interview in any way that I need to.
Yeah. So patients that do want to get involved that are currently not involved with the program, what dispensaries can they go to? You said that we know Groovy Cats, and then Silverleaf isn't open anymore.
No.
So what were some others?
So right now we've got, for a while, Green Healer is another one that jumped on board with me early.
Okay.
And they jumped on so early that they jumped on with Jeremy.
Hell yeah.
So they've been here for the journey. Those are some amazing people out there, out in Elk City. So if you're in that area, that's Green Healer. Groovy Cats is in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
In Oklahoma City, we are currently using High Society.
Okay.
They have multiple locations. I know we're getting ready to, we talked to a couple other different dispensary owners, and I'm not sure that I'm ready to announce their names just yet,
that's
but
okay.
we don't want people flooding without us being set up. So,
I totally understand.
we lost some good ones. And that is, I haven't been a road warrior in a while.
Mm-hmm. Me either.
A while.
A couple years now.
I know I'm gonna have to be I'm stepping into that season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it. So I'm coming out. I'm coming out and meeting new people.
Yeah.
We got stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. So if you are a dispensary in the Oklahoma area and you want to become a part of the program, please reach out to Jamie Bennett. If you are a processor in the area or a grower in the area that want to become involved in the program, I am quite sure that she has a stringent checklist that you have to be approved to come into the program, because I'm going to throw this in there now. How vital is it to have pesticide and heavy metal free product when treating cancer patients?
It's critical. It's critical. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say shame to anybody on the industry who knows you have a product that has pesticide in it and you haven't taken it off. That is irresponsible, and you can put people's lives in danger, especially somebody who's immune compromised as a cancer patient. And they are all over our industry, and they buy all products. They buy flour, they buy edibles. That it's not just FECO. So if you are irresponsible enough to pull your products, I hope you land up in prison.
Thank you. Holy heifer. Couldn't have said that shit better myself. Man, last week when I was on the last 5 minutes was good, and that right there was perfect. Because
I'm praying that you end up in prison.
Me too, and it ain't like snitching or being a bitch about it or anything else. If there is contaminated products in our industry on our retail shelves available for purchase with the intent to consume, and you put that shit out there contaminated with the intent to consume, screw you. That's called willful poisoning.
Yep. That recall list needs to be real strong.
Yes.
It needs to be an immediate pull the product. And sorry if it bankrupts your company.
Thank you.
Don't put the lives of people. Don't be greedy.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. Like the greed over need mentality. Yeah. Like we the consumers are what pays your bills and keeps your brand afloat. Why do you want to poison us? Like it doesn't make sense.
You make a bad representation of what the cannabis community as a worldwide effect is trying to do. Because if you have products that are hurting patients out on the market and you are not responsible enough to take those out, when it comes to patient-reported outcomes and a cancer patient died because they had pesticide, or a child died because they got their hands on the wrong pesticide, or a 70-year-old immune-compromised patient gets their hands on it, or somebody who has severe seizures gets their hands on these products, and their lives are now seriously affected. It is your fault.
Yes, it is. Criminal accountability. Wowzer.
Sorry, there's my rant. I see where my passion goes from.
But that's why our vibe vibes together, because what you have going is so critical for the patients. And the whole point and reason why we're doing what we're doing with our advocacy group is to ensure the access to safe, clean, quality medical cannabis in final form at all times. People thought we were coming out hating on the industry as, a group and this, that, and the other. When we began this process, we were attacking the industry. That's not the case. I'd love to see our industry flourish. I'd love to see it succeed. I'd love to see a rise in our economy in our industry. And, we went into testing into hemp and tobacco and papers and wraps and cones. We've tested soil and water. We bitch about the Lake Waxoma Dam. Like, you name it. Like, we advocate for so many different things. Yes, it started with medical cannabis, but in totality, it's because as people, we're being done wrong.
Yeah.
And bring your eyes open, whether it's contaminated products or living down south of the Waxoma Dam, and considering that you might have flood issues if that something breaches further on that. Like, I could go on and on for why we do what we do, but we vibe because the patients and keeping the patients safe and the access to that safe medicine is like a union.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love that. So, you've lost friends and family in the process of all this, and we've talked about that in the past. And I think that they were some of the inspiration for you doing what you do as well. Do you feel want to share anything on that, or not really?
Yeah. Another turning point.
Yeah.
So like you said, you fall down enough times and you want to quit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got a phone call. I was in my quit mode. This is too hard. We've got another problem. I can't figure this out. There's not enough money. I feel responsible now because people have committed to help, and this is going under, and I'm losing sleep, and I'm ready to quit. Like this, it was hard. I was ready to give up. And Amber Russell, a best friend of mine for over 10 years, her husband and I were best friends for 10 years longer than that. So this is family to me. She called me and she said she knew she's family, so she knew about those plans. She knew those crazy moments where I was writing. She knew what I was doing. I talked things out. She was supposed to be on our team for Operation Zero. Yeah. And I was ready to give up, and she called me and she said, "Hey, you don't get to give up." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Whatever.
I can if I want to.
I can if I want to. Like, girl." And she said, "No, you're not hearing me." I said, "Okay." And she said, "You can't give up." And I was like, "All right, what's going on?" And she said, "I just got diagnosed with cancer." And that new drive came from that. Everything I've done since then.
Sorry. Yeah. Make you cry on here.
No, but like this has affected me personally. Yeah. And then, we just laid my aunt to rest recently from cancer. She's in Massachusetts, so she didn't have the ability to legally get help the way that I do here in Oklahoma. And there's a part of me that feels guilt that we haven't got the program there yet. Like I couldn't help my own family.
Can't take that.
Yeah. But, Amber got diagnosed with a terminal cancer, and it was aggressive. And, we talked about treatment options, and, sometimes you just, as a parent, you have to make that choice of you're going to take that aggressive treatment, and you make a decision out of fear. And that's what happened. It was not the cancer that killed Amber, but rather the treatment. But while things were happening, her at one point in time, her liver was like almost exploding, and she was taking regular FECO and other cannabis products. And she called me and she said, the doctor said this. She goes, I didn't even feel it. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's supposed to help with your pain. So
right.
I'm glad you didn't. But she's like, but that like needs to be reported somewhere. Like, because she was very much like, write this down. You're gonna be the one that writes my story. Like, I don't know how much longer I have left, and you're gonna walk this with me. So I've got all kinds of stuff. But they said, she had a lung mass, and the doctor said it was probably likely not going to go down or disappear. And they were quite shocked at the difference.
The success of the treatment.
Yeah, and that her oncology team was asking questions like, what are you using? Because we didn't expect these kinds of results. So what are you doing? Yeah. And she'd tell them. Yeah. And she'd tell them exactly down to milligrams. And, she's got a story on one of our Cancer Playbooks. Yeah. Our Hope Fest too.
Well, I love that, her story is out there, and that's where you got your reinitiated drive to go for this, because I think your program is important. I think that there's a lot of patients out there that don't even know about it. I think that we as a community, dispensaries, processors, grows, need to become actively involved with these groups like yours and like, Rob Speed's program for the veterans and stuff. Giving access to these patients at the most affordable price gives the best success in their journey, because if they can get it, then they can take it. Yeah. Then they can have success. Yeah. So.
And they're not having to choose between we're not going to tell anybody what you should and shouldn't do for your treatment, but I'm going to tell you that FECO has the patient-reported outcomes suggest that even if you're using chemotherapy, radiation, and immunotherapy, there are some very increased quality of life aspects that come with benefits that come with taking this product.
I was reading some of the testimonies on your site, and I was reading about one guy, and he was talking about the benefits of the fact of having an appetite again. Even just the idea of feeling like you can get up and move around inside of your own home and feel okay enough to stand at the back door and watch the birds sing, if that's the benefit you get, that's a medical benefit. Yeah. That we can't even say is a medical benefit. Yeah. In our state. This sucks.
It is. Sucks. I mean, it is.
They need to change that.
These patients are, there's something else. These are some warriors that we're dealing with. Yeah, it's like an honor to do this with them.
Isn't it though?
Yeah. Like I get to know people that I never thought I was going to know. We got to pray. I mean, I don't know what your stance is, but like with Amber, my last memory with her was baptizing her in a hospital bed. I have several cancer patients that we sat down and prayed together. When you need hope, I'm there. It's not always easy. Mm-hmm. It's not always easy, which is where Cancer Playbook comes in effect. Because on one last little thing about Cancer Playbook, there is a amazing resource for cancer patients that need it on Cancer Playbook, and it is an interactive bot that is on the webpage. And if you have cancer and you're dealing with different symptoms, you can go talk to this bot. And the back end of it is the whole health oncology meta-analysis gathered data for their paper is the database of that. So it looks like an AI tool, but it's actually like real cannabis data.
Right.
Mixed with patient-reported outcomes. So you can ask, has another patient gone through this? That bot is a phenomenal tool, and it is free.
I love that. The advancements of technology to be able to have the access to that. searchable database at your fingertips.
And you just go ask it a question to say, hey, can I, I'm feeling nauseous. What did other patients use? Or,
Absolutely.
There's several questions you can go talk to it about. It was fun to be able to help build that.
Let's see here. And
Thanks.
we have a couple of comments. So one guy says, in California, fish bone meal fertilizer might require a Proposition 65 warning due to the potential presence of lead, which is listed on the state's Prop 65 list of chemicals. Okay, when we were talking about heavy metals and chemicals.
Gotcha.
He says, suggestion by himself was make a list of safe fertilizers that are recommended for medical marijuana should be shared for the viewers. So there is a list on the Department of Agriculture's website for the state of Oklahoma. If you go to it, and I believe you can search it for pesticides, or there might even be a tab for pesticides, where there is an approved list on there. Now, I'm not a scientist. I've not looked at, the data to know the ins and outs of that. But me personally, I don't think any pesticide is safe for inhaled consumption. So therefore, I don't think it should be on our medical cannabis in the first place. But I do think there are other options out there that can be used. So, yeah.
That's a heavy metal in the soil.
Right. Well, but like I was saying, this was whenever we were talking about the pesticides and heavy metals. So, because I was looking back at your phone, trying to look at some of the comments. You can have that now. Let's see. All right. So, Sherry says, same with hospice patients. Them taking FECO allows them a better quality, end of life, less pain. They get to eat. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have a very near and dear friend of mine. I told you about him whenever we first kind of started talking on the phone and stuff. And I know we're going to wrap this up soon. But this gentleman, he has cancer, and he has an aggressive cancer, I think, in his lungs now. And he's 100% oxygen dependent already. We just, tried to help him get linked up with a location to get some medicine at, where we were able to help him get capsules and suppositories and things like that, so that was a good deal. But it sucks that, cancer eats up our friends and our family, and research money to research data to put cancer and cannabis treatment together. Guys, we got to progress. We have to progress.
We're going to have to
Jamie
fight.
are pioneering this, opportunity for this research and treatment options, and we need to be able to fund the success of programs like this. Yeah. Whether it's through grants,
the state
or
needs to,
through federal or state, or however it may be.
Yeah, especially like we're so willing to cooperate.
I love that term, willing to cooperate.
Yeah, we're so willing to cooperate. Like I don't care who I have to sit at a table with.
Yeah.
To get this done. That's where I am.
So do you have conversations with legislators, politicians?
Girl, I go into the Capitol all the time.
Love it.
I go into the Capitol, right now like I said, I should have looked it up on break.
With all the data.
I went in, this is how this happened. Christy she's awesome. And she called me and she was like, hey, Senator Jett is willing to help you in a research bill. But it was so last minute opportunity that it was so hard to pull off while I'm it's nothing I've ever done before. But that didn't stop me. Right. I was like, there ain't nothing that's gonna stop me. So we put this bill together, right? And we tried to get it to the committee for the agenda, and I walked in, I had a conversation. He was like, I wish I would have met you 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, I didn't know I had this opportunity 2 weeks ago. He's like, I've already made the agenda. So it's still active. We just have to wait till next session.
Okay.
Committee.
So that's why not knowing the bill number off the top of your head.
Yeah, I was like, I got told no. Like we wrote this bill in 2 days. We got an opportunity, and he was like, you have 2 days to turn this in. Okay, so I don't know if anybody's ever written a bill before, but it's not easy. If you don't know what you're doing, it's not easy. Okay, so we wrote this bill. We had 2 days to get it in. His team, Senator Jett's team, worked their magic.
Right.
And it just got, to the table too late. So I will be back in the Capitol regularly. That's where we're at.
Right.
I was supposed to be there this week, and
I'll be there Wednesday.
Yeah. So, we're going to sit down and continue to have these conversations. I've been in many offices. I've shaken many hands. I've sat down with Omri. I've sat down with Lee Rhodes. I've sat down with Adria Berry. I've showed up to meetings. That's how we met. One of the places we saw each other. I showed up to things.
And as much as I have to say this out here about the OMA real quick, that once you have a conversation with people and you get relationships started and going, the human beings themselves, I have no issue with. And I tell people inside, the OMA workers or whatever you want to call it, inside the OMA, all the time. I'm like, yes, we can see you guys making forward progress, but until all of the issues that need to be addressed are dealt with, we can't pull up off the gas pedal. You know what I mean? We have to have our foot to the floor and through the door to y'all before, we can't lift it up yet. You know what I mean? We can't lift it up yet. Patients are not being protected. They're not being kept safe. There's still issues with final form testing in our industry where people are testing it as one subject or one thing and then putting it in their place for sale as something else. There's just all kinds of issues still within the industry that need to be corrected for patients' safe access.
Yes.
So,
yes,
no matter who they are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jamie, thank you so much. And I appreciate you coming on and talking to me, of course, today. And
It's
so,
been fun.
absolutely, we'll do it. And I'm sure sometime in the future, as your organizations progress and what you guys do, I look forward to hearing updates in the future from you guys. So again, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe. Let's see. Love you. Go somewhere. That's my Katrina. Hi. Hippie, if you want to put a couple of those up there, I'm going to try to read them real quick before I sign out, if you want me to. Love that. If not, we're going to get out of here. You guys have a great day. Let's see. I will pay any dispensary's transportation costs so I can get the medicine. Just saying. Sherry Bacher, you selfless soul, you. I love you. And then she says, Holy smokes, Ponca City needs a follow-up call for the program. Just saying. So that one's for you. Holy smokes and Ponca City.
Holy smokes.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us. WTHC Radio, he says. All right, we're out then, guys. Love you guys. Much love. One love. And we will catch you later.
Bye.
Official disclaimer. Hippie Broadcasting Network and WTHC Radio. The content provided by Hippie Broadcasting Network, DHBN, and WTHC Radio is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. While we focus on cannabis culture, patient advocacy, music, and more, we are not medical professionals, legal advisors, or licensed therapists, and nothing shared on our platforms should be taken as medical, legal, or professional advice. Please consult a qualified professional for any serious matters. All guests, hosts, and contributors express their own views and opinions, which do not necessarily reflect those of DHBN or WTHC Radio. We encourage open discussion and freedom of expression, but we also promote respectful and responsible communication. Listeners and viewers are responsible for understanding and complying with all local, state, and federal laws related to cannabis use, possession, and cultivation. We do not promote or condone illegal activity of any kind. If it's not legal where you live, don't do it just because we're talking about it, no matter how cool it sounds when you're high. We are also not responsible for any side effects of tuning in, including, but not limited to, excessive laughter, sudden cravings for snacks, random creative inspiration, or the uncontrollable urge to start a band. By continuing to engage with our content, you acknowledge that you do so at your own discretion and accept full responsibility for your actions. Be safe, stay informed, and as always, Vibe responsibly. Official disclaimer.
Stepping up strong with a righteous plea. Summer Parker fighting for you and me. Patients need what the doctor has said. Safe access now to the meds they bred. One love, one fight, don't you delay. Rights for the people in every way. We stand tall, we won't back down. Safe access is the anthem sound. Safe access is the anthem sound. The struggle is real, but so is the fire. For health and hope we climb higher. Stand with the ones who can't stand alone. For every voice deserves a throne. Compassion leads where the laws resist. A healer's heart can't coexist with barriers blocking what we deserve. The people's needs must be preserved. One love, one fight, don't you delay. Rights for the people in every way. We stand tall, we won't back down. Safe access is the anthem sound.
This production is brought to you by DHBN.